Today we've got two gluten-free breads. One is going to be fortified with mushrooms and the other coconut-based. Just adding the hot water with the room temperature water. The idea is to get something close to body temperature. And then I'm going to add a bit of maple syrup, which will bring down the temperature. So this is just for the sweetness for the yeast to consume. I'm going to mix it up, stir it up, and then now, testing the water with your finger to make sure that it's going to be room temperature, and then apply the yeast. This is going to be for 2 small loaves, 1.5 tablespoons, and just going to mix it up. And then we're just going to proof that for about 10 minutes. Leave that in a warm place, in this case on top of the stove. And then now for the chia seeds. These need to be either chopped or ground up. And this is going to form what's known as a chia egg. Obviously, this is vegan, so we're not going to use an actual egg, but this will add texture, especially without the gluten. We're going to need that texture. So I've actually, until now, only used a knife, but a coffee grinder is a much more efficient way. If you've got a coffee grinder free, I had to remove the coffee, but at the end of the video, or towards the end, I'm going to show you what I did with that coffee. I made an extra nutritious coffee. So we'll get to that later. But now we've got the starter ready, and now it's been sitting there for 10 minutes. We're going to add 2 tablespoons of the ground seeds, the chia seeds, and now we've got some already ground flaxseed. And I'm going to add some. You can also add psyllium husk, which is what I normally do, but I don't have any because I'm at my mom's place. So this actually works just as good. It's going to be a little more earthy, and texture will be slightly different, but it's very similar. So now we've got the main ingredients, which are the 2 flours. I'm going to do 2-1 ratio there with the gluten-free Trader Joe's potato-based flour and almond. And now I'm just checking to see if the mixture is good. It is. I'm adding that wet to the dry, stirring it up. It's going to be a wet mix. There's no need to do. So now we've got the main ingredients, which are the 2 flours. I'm going to do 2-1 ratio there with the gluten-free Trader Joe's potato-based flour and almond. And now I'm just checking to see if the mixture is good. It is. I'm adding that wet to the dry, stirring it up. It's going to be a wet mix. There's no need to develop the gluten at this point. We just want to get everything mixed in once I break it. Now, for the mystery ingredient, we're adding dried zucchini mushrooms, but I'm only going to add it to 1. Add oats. Add a little bit just to get the hydration lower. I've added a little bit more almonds, a few tablespoons, maybe 2 more tablespoons of almond. Again, you kind of have to do this a few times and get used to the hydration level. But if you're watching the video, it should look like this. And now the coconut is just going to add some sweetness. It's not really going to affect the hydration because the chunks have not been ground up, but it will bring out some sweetness in the one that doesn't have the mushroom. The hydration's still a little bit wet. You can see it coming off of my finger, so I'm going to use a mortar and pestle to get these walnuts pulverized, and then I'm going to further do it with the coffee blender. Now you could also use a food processor, but with the small quantities like this, I'm being creative. So now we've got this mushroom slash, this is differentiating this loaf from the other one, and this one's going to be Probably the more nutritious of the two, but also the more unconventional. Now this one, this is just after I've let it rise. So you let it double in size. It could take about 2 hours. I think I waited about 2.5 hours. And now this is 375 degrees preheated oven. I'm just taking out the tray, and I'm going to get ready to drop these bad boys on there. Before I do that, this is optional, but I do like to do this because this is another one of my one a day that I try to get, which is seeds. Sunflower seeds in particular, very high in omega-3s, which obviously if you're vegan, it's going to be one of those hard to get ingredients. So that's going on just like that. And I've scored it so that it'll make a nice pattern when it cooks. Wetting the hand once again. We're going to interact with the other ball. This is the mushroom ball. You see the hydration is at a good place. It's not sticking, but it's still wet enough to take those seeds in. No need for an egg yolk or anything. It's because it's a wet dough. With a traditional dough, you would probably need to do that, but then it wouldn't be vegan, would it? And then now we're just adding that. That's not quite that's more like a mini baguette, but you know, it is what it is. Those are gonna go in for about 30 minutes. And now for the coffee. So this is a healthy coffee. It just starts out like any other coffee. So I've got the espresso, I've got my funky psychedelic lighting, and I'm gonna add just some sugar, and I'm gonna add some flaxseed. That's also one of my one a day. This is based on Dr. Greger's checklist. Go check it out. It's an app. It's the simplest app ever. It's just a checklist of things that if you're a vegan, you should eat every day, and one of them is flaxseed. So I look for every opportunity to do that. And now it's optional. I'm gonna add a little bit of unsweetened cocoa. That's unsweetened, so it's vegan, and that's it. It's just like a little mocha flaxseed, brown sugar, and coffee. So that's number one. Now number two, if you want to get creative, this one has the chia seeds that we used previously, and we're gonna put some of that in the coffee. Now I'm gonna add some mushroom. This is already comes ground from Trader Joe's, but you could also use the leftovers from the ground mushroom we used in the mushroom bread, which is actually what I did because I was out of the Trader Joe's stuff. Now for the sweetness, there's a vegan source of sweetness, tahini, which is sesame seed based. It's gonna get you that nut one a day from Dr. Greger's list. And it's also gonna be sweetening it, and making it a little bit, I don't know, make it a little taste a little bit like you're dressing a falafel there, but it works. It does work. It's creamy, and it's sweet, and it interacts well with some of those other ingredients, which are going to be strong and earthy. So they were both good coffees, and they're both nutritious, naturally sweetened with whole foods. Now back to the bread. We're just checking the base because that's where you can really see whether it's cooked. We want to get that cooked and browned on the bottom. If you don't, it won't keep as well. You might get mold after a couple of days. But if you properly cook the bottom, then you know it should keep for about 4 days. I mean, it keep longer than that. It will just get harder every day. So, but it won't get moldy. And now I made some homemade baba ganoush. I had the oven on, so I just roasted an eggplant or aubergine, if you're British, and then I've added some dressing to that, just some lemon and to bring it to life, and some olive oil and some paprika. And now I'm slicing the bread. So this is the moment of truth. Now I've never made these before. The goal was to make them as healthy as possible, but obviously I still want them to taste good. I'm just slicing it. Now I normally like to let it cool down a bit, but I just couldn't wait because I was very hungry. If you let it cool down a bit, you don't have to wait all the way. It'll be easier to cut. Now for the tasting. So we've got 2 breads, and we're gonna bring them in, and here we go. I've got my mom here to help me.
Fucking A. Okay.
So you like which one? This one? Or
And it's
this
fucking
one?
even warm. You just made a spread?
Yeah, because I made the baba ganoush
Oh,
and the bread.
no, but gotta keep tasting.
Okay.
The brownie crunchy one, I mean, kind of can't be beat, but the other one,
This one's sweeter because it has the coconut. And you guess what it is? How do they taste? How are they different?
I mean, I feel very loving of all the tastes, so it's hard for me to
How would
choose.
you describe the different? The lighter one versus the darker bread?
The darker one has more texture and more bitter.
Okay.
No gluten here.
See, it's good, no?
Yeah.
It's also a lot more filling because it's got all those almonds ground up in it.